Iron and why it's important. Obviously, the main people that can suffer from iron deficiency are your females, vegetarians, and your endurance athletes. The reason why endurance athletes is because they constantly get the pounding of the feet, and you can actually lose quite a lot of blood just by damaging vessels in your feet, just by running all the time. It has shown to have quite an impact, which I don't think many people are aware of it. Insufficient iron can lead to all those things that are on the board. I love red meat. I eat lots of green veg, and I still struggle with my iron levels. Okay, so as I've said, just because you do or you don't include something in your diet doesn't necessarily mean you're deficient. Like the general reference intakes, they are there for general for a reason. They're not going to apply to everyone, and people are going to fall out of them. So it is really important to make sure that you do get blood tests if you're just concerned about an athlete, and you just make sure that you do send them off and get the actual reading and get it supplemented properly. So iron, it's broken into two different parts where you get heme iron and non-heme iron. Heme iron is absorbed better than non-heme. However, the absorption rate is still poor. A part of me feels that number on there is still a little bit high, depending on which articles you're kind of reading. But your body doesn't absorb iron particularly well. The general guideline for women in iron, I think it's about 15 milligrams per day. If you supplement iron, you're expected to take at least 200 milligrams a day, just to make sure your body can actually have any chance of absorbing it, which is absolutely massive. And that sometimes can be the problem. I just think some people's bodies are really efficient at absorbing it, and people like me just aren't, because I frequently end up, every 2-3 years going back, or now I just take the HealthSpan Elite tablet a day, just because no matter how much red meat you eat, just like my mum, I end up dropping. So which vitamin enhances iron absorption? Vitamin C. It does enhance iron absorption. So if you take a tablet, or if you're having an iron-rich meal, then have a glass of fruit juice that's got vitamin C in it, and hopefully it will increase the absorption. As you said earlier, you do get things like tea, and also a lot of wheat foods as well. It's called tannins, so they're really high in tannins, and tannins can impair the absorption. It's really difficult working with an athlete who is needing to increase their iron intake, yet you're looking at getting high fibre foods in, because the two aren't compatible. And that's kind of why I hate it, because I'm like, there's no solution, because the high fibre foods, the things that are high in tannins, impair absorption, and it's not really compatible. It's just incredibly difficult to get it right. But in which instance you probably prioritise getting your iron levels back up. And that's pretty much it for me. I do like this quote. I use it quite a lot. Exercise is king, nutrition is queen, and put them together and you've got a kingdom. So I think definitely my early careers, I was pretty big on just I need to train, because I was working and I was studying. I just wanted to get the track and get my session done. Towards the end of my career, when I started studying nutrition, I still didn't know then what I know now. It's a bigger picture in terms of how to get it right. Nutrition is just a small part of that, in terms of your recovery, your sleep, your rest, and everything else that you need to be doing. So that's just a summary of what we've gone through. Carbohydrates are your primary fuel sources. Make sure you get the timings absolutely spot on. Protein is essential for muscle repair and recovery. Again, think about the frequency that you're getting and make sure you're getting it in after training. Meal timings are key if you want to optimise your adaptations, and that is really, really important. Again, I would quite happily leave college, get in the car and go to training without eating anything. And I used to do that all the time because I didn't know any better. Need fats in our diet, but balance is key. Don't forget the little people. Vitamins and minerals, calcium, vitamin D and iron are the main ones for performance. And nutrition plans should be individualised, so what your plan should not be the same as the person sitting next to you, because you are not the same people. And this is one on my FitnessPal app. If you want to download it, it's nothing to get fixated on. That's what bothers me. I don't want people to get fixated on monitoring the calories, because that's a recipe for disaster, excuse the pun. But it does give you insight into what's in your food, and a massive barrier for some people is just not knowing what they're eating and the decisions that they're making. I told an athlete the other day that I'll go to Costa Coffee and get a latte because I wanted the 10 grams of protein in it in the middle of the day. And it's just stupid little things like that just make a difference to your nutrition plan and what you're doing, that you know what 20 grams of chicken is, and you know what 50 grams of carbs is, and when you're having it and why you're having it. This can massively help with that, because it logs your foods and it tells you the carbs, proteins, the fats, the calories. It tells you everything you need to know. And if you do choose to do that, then I've just put some questions on the board really that you could use just to ask yourself to see if you're getting it right, and if you're meeting your goals, if you know what that is. And did you have any alcohol? The bottom. Did you have a good night out? It's about fueling recovery and periodisation of your energy. So you might find that some athletes, I've got a diver whose skin folds are 35 mil, which means there is not an ounce of fat on him as a unit, and he can have carbs. He's just that freak. However, if he does come back after he came back after winter training and he put on a kilo of fat, And he's like, I want to get rid of this. So he cut some carbs at night. He just went, oh yeah, I've just gone high protein at night for a week, and he'd lost the kilo and he was back on. At no point through that was the session compromised because he fueled all the way around his training. So you can go into really detail and go, right, you know, an athlete the other day, I said, what's your hardest training days? And she went, Wednesday, Saturday, without a doubt, my hardest days. So I was right then, so let's make sure we're after training, protein recovery, we're going to add a banana on those 2 days. I'm going to increase your carbs at breakfast to fuel you through. And so she'll burn through the calories on those heavy days, but on a recovery day, you know, you don't need to be adding that in, and that in itself will be enhancing the body composition. Oh yeah, creatine is one of the few supplements. So the main supplements that are going to work is your proteins, your creatines, beta-alanine, beetroot, which wasn't really relevant to us. Yeah, it works, but we won't work under a crap diet, basically. It is that literally, it's that 0.5% that you're looking for. You know, it's the extra few centimetres that are going to make a difference at that top level. If everything else is not right, if you're not getting enough sleep, then don't bother with your creatine. It is that. If your protein intake's not high enough and you're not turning over the muscle in a positive balance and optimising those adaptations from your training session, creatine's not going to make a massive difference. If you get everything else right, then add creatine. Is that going to be, you know, impact your performance? Then yes, it will give you that extra edge, but not half as much as what you do if you master the bottom half first. So it literally is the top of the pyramid. But it is one of the things that will work if you just use a gradual dose of 3 to 5 grams a day. There's no point in loading up on it because you'd be training a lot of water.